I got to the end of it and I went, I'm glad that's over. And then he went, I made a second one, which I didn't watch. And then I made a third one, which I definitely, 197 minutes of my life. Are you having a laugh?
Ocean Drive with Seamie McMahon.
And it's time for this.
Ocean Drive's filmed with Eclipse Dine-In Cinemas Bundoran. Now serving pizza, hot dogs, ice cream, and more to your seat. Find out more at Eclipse.
Time to join our man at the movies. Let's head up to Bundoran and Eclipse Cinemas. Collie, he's so excited about this. He can hardly wait to tell you about the biggest release this year. Avatar, Fire and Ash has arrived.
I could talk about this till I'm blue in the face, which is the sort of thing that if people know what movie it is, that's a decent joke. Otherwise, they're going, oh, your man's gone again. Now, we were talking about this off air, right? I remember this years ago. I think 13 years ago, when the first one came out. I remember driving. They didn't have 3D in Bundoran at that stage, and driving quite a bit to watch it in 3D because I thought this 3D I thought was a fad, but there was going to be a couple of things it was great for. Gravity was brilliant for the movie Gravity, and this one. And I loved it. But if you told me I'd be talking about it in 13 years, I think I would have been very surprised. Look, will we go straight to the clip and then you can moan and I'm going to tell you why? Maybe you're wrong. Maybe you're right.
Okay, listen up.
Fire is the only pure thing in this world. There's something you're hiding.
This world goes much deeper than you imagine.
Burn them all.
If your father and I do not return, you go as far and as fast as you can.
What does that always say?
Sully's never quits.
That's right. Sully's never quit. The day has come.
Avatar, Fire and Ash. Get tickets now.
You cannot live like this, baby.
Lots of dialogue in this movie.
Yeah.
There's great effects, though.
Yeah. So, and this is the thing. I think at this stage, everyone's made up their mind, right? They know these movies, they're going to go and see them. They love them, big, epic night out. Or they go, yeah, I saw the first one, don't care for this. And like, I was thinking about this, Seamie, right? I work with a lot of young people. And one of the joys of young people is they're so steadfast in their opinion. Something is great or it's awful. There's very little in between. It's black and white. You're up for them, you're against them. Whereas as you get older, you realize two things can be true at the same time. So, for example, this movie. It is rubbish, and yet it was very enjoyable at the same time, right? It is far too long a film, but it is epic at the same time on a scale that there's just nobody else making these movies. You think of your Ben-Hurs, that sort of stuff. It's on that scale, blown away. We were talking about the big country off air. You know, just these vistas. Okay, they're computer, but you still go, wow, look at these animals. Look at this world. What a load of nonsense at the same time. So the dialogue is particularly brutal, right? And it's all, oh, the goddess of Ooga Booga Booga, right? And yet, I still really cared that everyone was okay at the end. And I don't know. I think only James Cameron could do this, Seamie. Like, it was like, look, so much of Titanic was nonsense, but we all cared and it made $1 billion, you know? And that's what he's good at. There is one thing you can say, there is nothing else like this in the cinemas, anywhere. Maybe computer games have a little bit like this, but nobody else is making stuff on this scale with this sort of grandiose vision. And like the real beauty of this movie, and all these movies, I think, is not so much the storyline. It's kind of a little bit Last of the Mohicans, a little bit Pocahontas. It still is, you know, but it is the worlds and like it's the stuff in the background. So when they're standing somewhere and there's the floating islands in the background, they go to these different. This kind of is the world of volcanoes. We had the world of oceans last time, and like it just every now and then something floats past the screen. Particularly if you're watching 3D, and you go, "Oh, that's cool," right? And that really, it is almost like maybe like a ride that you go into like in Disney World or something like that, because it's more of an experience, right? And I think that's maybe why you get away with the ooga booga booga bits, because they're so silly and so wrong, and yet you're still going, do you know what? While I'm here, go on, give us your nonsense. Give us your nonsense, because I know I'm going to be rewarded with this mad chase, or some big creature is going to come out and you're going to go, wow, that's cool. So, look, it's for people who like this sort of stuff.
I know that, but it's 197 minutes long.
Yeah, no, nothing needs to be that long. There's marriages that don't need to be that long, let alone movies. And I would agree with that. Or actually, do you know what I would say is, even
Yeah.
at that, just give us an intermission. Give us an intermission. People always give
There's
out.
no intermission.
No, people always give out to us in the cinema going, why don't you do intermissions anymore? And we go, we'd love to do an intermission, sell you another glass of wine or a pizza or whatever. We would love to do that. It's film companies don't want you to do intermissions because they want more films in, and they're wrong because people don't mind a big long stuff. Look at the big stage shows, Wicked to Hamilton and stuff. They're really long, but people get out to walk their legs or stretch their legs in the middle of it. That would be a good idea as well. But you know what? If you like the other two, you're going to really like this. It is really good fun and it is spectacular and it's nonsense at the same time. Both things can be true, Seamie. Both. So that's my review. It is great and awful at the same time.
And it's very blue.
There's a lot of red in this one. It's
Oh,
fire.
the red in this one, fire. Okay. Let's move on swiftly, he said. SpongeBob, the search for the square pants.
Okay.
Oh, come on, you're killing me this week.
Yeah, here's another confession. I think SpongeBob is hilarious. I do. I'm way too old. I always say it's not as funny. People go, it's so annoying. And I went, but that's the point. You see, we are a bit SpongeBob and Patrick ourselves, Seamie. Now, we leave it up to the listeners to figure out which one's which. I think it might depend on the day and how many coffees. But we're still prattling on 13 years later, much like SpongeBob and Patrick. And it always has a look when you're 5 to 8 years old, it's just manic, and it's grown-ups doing silly stuff, and they live under the sea, and he's got a girlfriend who's a squirrel who has to wear a spacesuit so she can live underwater. Why not? Now it is true, the older and older I get, the grumpy neighbour Squidward who just gets annoyed by the young people all the time, going, I'm starting to associate with him a wee bit more than I used to. But you know what? It's going to be great manic fun. Now we're going to talk on our Christmas special. We're going to talk way more about the stuff after Christmas. This is opening tomorrow, but really, a few people will come to see it this weekend. It's after Christmas. This is going to be huge, and it's
what's
for the
SpongeBob. What's it like? What's the age group? I always kind of wonder.
Well, you see, you would say under 10, but it's been for under 10s for 30 years. So loads of people who are not over 10 going, I don't care. I still love SpongeBob because it's funny. It's funny in the way kids just think things are funny, where you see little bubbles blowing and okay, so people fart under the ocean too. And it's hilarious when you're 5. And you know what? Sometimes when you're 52, it's pretty funny as well.
All right, okay. That opens tomorrow. SpongeBob, The Search for the Square Pants. Right, liking that. Great title. Now, you've got something, you've got the super... I've got this right, Elf Kings.
It's Super Elf Kids. This is even younger and more gentle. For somebody who would be a bit scared by SpongeBob could be too overwhelmed, because SpongeBob is manic and he shouts at you. This is for your little one. So you're probably talking 5, 4, who...
This is Mammy and the kids.
That's a bit too exciting.
Mammy and Daddy, I should
Mammy and Daddy bring you to this. It'd be a lovely first movie. It's about an hour and 10 minutes. It is not Avatar. It's about an you have 3 Super Elf Kids in Avatar, and it's just a nice little gentle Christmas movie about the Super Elves. But we better mention possibly the greatest Christmas movie of all time.
Absolutely. And are you giving this a showing for one night or how many nights?
It's on one night only this year.
One night only.
It's in the Director's Lounge. It's a Wonderful Life.
Nice,
we've talked about it every year we've been on the radio. We've talked about it, but it still remains true. It is darker than you remember. It is funnier, way funnier than you remember. Much more modern and relevant than you remember. More romantic than you remember. Better than you remember, even though it's a year. But the amazing thing, like The Wizard of Oz, like so many other classics, Shawshank Redemption, it was a flop.
Yeah.
It was, and the people went, bloody Frank Capra can't make a decent movie. He's too sentimental. And it went on to television, which was the new technology at the time, and it was a cheap Christmas movie, and people put it on and then went, do you know what? Is it just me, Mary, or is this brilliant? And no, it wasn't just you. It is brilliant. It is funny, romantic, sweet, and it starts with somebody thinking they're going to end it all at that. And it is the ultimate light in darkness. And it is a Christmas movie, but you could watch it at any time of year. It will give you hope. It will give you joy. And you'll also go, wow, the power of cinema. The power of film to just change, put yourself in somebody else's shoes and go, do you know what? They're right. And Jimmy Stewart, and we're getting a big Jimmy Stewart movie next year. We're getting a biopic of Jimmy Stewart next year in 2026. So really looking forward to that. Maybe we'll mention that in our in our New Year preview as well. But It's a Wonderful Life on Saturday. If you've out there and you've never seen it, last year I remember saying to you, I persuaded one of our regular customers. He loves the cinema. He's only about 23, and I said, I bet you've never seen this. And he said, seen it? I've never even heard of it. I don't know what it is. And he walked in and went, Jesus, it's a black and white. And then he walked out going, that is one of the best movies I've ever seen. I'm coming every year. So there you go.
Now you see. That's brilliant. All right, Missed It Monday, you're bringing back probably one of the top movies of the year, I'd have to say. Nuremberg, and great to see himself back in the role.
Russell Crowe,
Russell Crowe, and back making something decent.
And not just making something decent, being so good in it. He is so good in it. And I was actually listening to another podcast afterwards. They started laughing when they introduced it. And then they watched the movie and went, do you know what? We got to take all of that back. Russell Crowe is brilliant in it. And he captures the arrogance, but the charm. Do you know what I was saying about two things being true at the same time? So Hermann Goring, one of history's great monsters, but he was a charmer. This is how people get in positions of power very often. And he did win people over. And he really thought he was going to beat the rap. It is absolutely brilliant. An amazing supporting cast. Lots of brilliant actors in small roles. That one is a long movie as well, but it's well worth it. And see it on the big screen because you want to see Russell Crowe like that again. It's like Gladiator, or more like Inside or something like that. You just see the power of a good actor and how they can change your opinion straight away. It's a super movie. 5:50 on Monday.
5:50 on Monday, and that is Nuremberg. And before we go, a quick mention, and we're talking about, Nuremberg, you could be up for an Oscar for that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Oscars, it's been announced today that it's going to be streaming on YouTube from 2029.
Yeah, I think this is probably a good thing for the Oscars, actually, because TV is odd and it's expensive these days in the way American network TV is run with the ads and so on. So with YouTube, they can stream it the whole time. They'll probably have ads at the bottom, which probably suits that sort of ceremony. We mightn't get the people like kind of pushed off, and it'll probably have people who understand what young people and other people are looking to watch TV these days. So a bit of a shot in the arm. I think it'll be great. There'll be loads of Irish people there too.
Now, quick one before we go. We are back on Tuesday with the Christmas preview show, aren't we?
Yeah, there's huge movies coming out from the 26th, including the Roy Keane movie. And we're going to talk about what's big in 2026. My God, 2026, Jamie.
2026. We'll be back Tuesday.